Hi there, welcome to Something Saturday. So today I thought we'd have a play around with these delicate edges dies. Aren't they pretty? So I really like these. However, you don't have to just use them as dies. Okay, so I thought I'd give you a couple of other suggestions as to how you can use them. So let me bring in some of my things that I was fiddling around with earlier. I have got, where's it gone to? Some of this stuff. So it is thick foam, extra firm in this particular case. I got it from $2 shop. It's just like squidgy, foamy stuff. And you can create stamps out of your dies. Did you realise this? It's really cool. So if you have, oh yeah, that's right. So what I've done, I've run this one and this one with this thick foam stuff and just created, to begin with, just the die cut piece. What I've done with this one is I've actually added a little bit of, you can't even see what it's called, but it's the Tombow or the multi-purpose liquid glue. I've added that to the back of it and I've just sort of sponged it off a little bit and left it dry, and it does mean that it's now just that little bit tacky, and I can then attach it onto a block like so. Just press it down nice and firm, and then that means that it will attach to the block. But the cool thing with this is that I can actually create that sort of shape as well if I want to. So I don't have to have it just completely straight if I don't want to, which I think that's pretty cool. So there you go. That's one thing you can do with it. So now this one here, I have done the same thing, that I've cut it out. So with the backing on this one, you'll notice that it actually has something like this, which is actually what comes on the back of our stamp sets. Or well, actually it comes that you can then mount your stamp sets onto it, if that makes sense. So when you get your stamps, you'll end up getting an extra sheet like this. So you can buy this stuff, or you can just save your stamp sets and just cut little pieces off it and use it on the back of your random stamps that don't have sticky stuff on them. So this will create a sticky surface for the back of your stamp that, as you can see, all I've done there is just added two little bits of it, and then that means that I can now stick it down onto a block, and I need to stretch that one out slightly more, and it will stick to my block and it won't fall off, which is always a bonus, you know. Nice if your stuff doesn't fall off your blocks. So I thought I would just quickly show you how this actually stamps. Admittedly, it won't stamp and make it look like a perfect stamp, but it's still pretty cool. And you know what, if you've got kids and they want to play around with your stuff and you don't really want them playing with your really good stamps, you could create your own set of stamps for them like this from some of your dies. And see how it turns out. So maybe it's not perfect, but let's just move it along a little wee bit more. And I do have green on there, so it might even be worth double. So if you were to cut this out once, cut it out twice, and actually attach them together, then it would actually mean that you ended up with like a higher stamp. Just move that one in, and let's go with one in the middle there as well. So, you know, it's kind of quite a cool way of creating a stamp. It's a little bit like when I was at school, we used to stamp with potatoes and things like that. And, you know, it's a little bit like that in some respects, that you don't get a perfect image, but it's not a bad image. And then it can just be cleaned off in your normal way. I might just give it a bit more of a wipe down, this one. So that's that option. Now, I'll do something with that later, and I'll pop it up on my blog. Now you'll get something like this, and this one here cuts out this piece, and then you end up with these two side pieces left over, which you could add onto a card like this. And if you were to pop those, let's see, no, all my other cardstock's disappeared now, of course, because I've got it packed up for something else. That was really silly. Let's just grab this piece. So potentially this could sit onto there, and then you could line it up like that, and you can see that you're gonna have pieces like this that don't look quite right, but you could just add like a line in there. Once you've got it all stuck down, you could just add a line, and then it would make it look like it was a flower. So once again, I will do that, and I will show you in my blog. So don't forget to check out the blog. Then, oh, but wait, there's more. So this one here I did cut out, because it's really cool. What it does is it cuts out from the side of your card so that you end up with just that pattern still attached to your card, so it would look really pretty at the bottom or the side. However, once you've cut out a piece like that, you can also just pop it onto your cardstock, and somehow like this, grab your brush, ink it up with your colour, and brush it all over. Obviously you want to have a bit of spare cardstock underneath, just a bit of scrap under it when you're doing that, otherwise you end up colouring everything in sight, which is not so good. But this one here, you can actually reline up on the other side. You see how it's got those dots there? These dots actually will line up, and then you can create like a double-sided pattern with it. How pretty! However, but wait, there's more. So there's that. So this is the piece that comes off the other side of this. See, there it is. It came off there. And the reason I actually left myself extra space was so that I could actually have something to hang on to on both sides of it. So I did deliberately cut this out from the middle of a piece of cardstock. And then you can create a line like that if you want to, which I think it looks pretty cool. However, this is really cool. If you were to maybe do this in a different colour, which, you know, I possibly should have thought of that, but I didn't, it would look really nice to have that as a backing underneath it. You know, I should just do that. Hang on 1 minute. Let's just grab a spare bit of card, she says, and apparently I managed to use all my spare bits of card, so not only that, but I've also managed to put it down somewhere. Oh, there we go. Isn't it amazing how you put something down and it just disappears almost as soon as you put it down? So let us go with, bring in my cutter. I kind of want this so it's going to be a bit smaller on my card. And I reckon I'm going to go with 1 centimetre smaller than I know the front of my card is. So the front of my card will be 14.8 by 10.5. So I'm just cutting this piece of cardstock to 9.5 so that it's 1 centimetre smaller that way. And then 13.8, which is 1 centimetre smaller that way. And then that way I know it'll look quite nice on the front of my card. And if I want to create a mat for it, then I'll also be able to, you know, just create a 5mm mat as well. So then you just create the mat with an extra 5mm. I know what I'm talking about. Good job too, isn't it? Somebody has to know what they're talking about. So the other thing is that you're going to find, if you want it to be not on an angle like that and you actually want it to be straight, you kind of want to hold this up to the light to make sure that you're going to end up with what looks like a straight line there, and we don't want to use red, we want to use a different colour. So let's go with some green, shall we? Let's hope there's some green on here. Not much. Excellent. Wow, you'd think there would be heaps of green on there because I know that I've been using it heaps recently. Ooh, didn't mean to do that. Didn't want quite as dark a colour as that, but never mind. And it managed to move slightly. Yay, go me. I always tell people this and then I just manage to not do it myself. So make sure when you're using these that you start off on your scrap paper first and then you work your way onto your card. Rather, because that's what you'll end up with if you don't, and you'll end up with, yeah. Oh well. So then I will show you now. See, and then you can put that underneath it. And that looks really cool. So it gives it almost like a shadow effect. So I shall do something with that as well. My goodness, there's an awful lot I've got to do things with now, isn't there? Okay, so have a check out of my blog. So don't forget, when you use your dies, there's more that you can do with them. So as I say, if you've got kids or you want to create stamps out of them, you can do that. If you want to make more of your dies, then cut it and use it as a mask and create different patterns with it. And don't forget to use the negative parts of your dies as well as the positive parts of your dies. Positive being obviously the pretty part and the negative being the maybe not quite so pretty part, but it could turn out to a pretty part if you work it in that way. Right, good. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and please do come back and join me next Saturday. I will see you then. Bye.